Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new and you like to hear about opinions, reviews, analyses, and ramblings on films, books, and TV shows, be sure to click that subscribe button for more content from me. Today we're doing book talk, my thoughts, reactions, and reviews on a book that was on my TBR. And today's book talk is on The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So, funny story about my TBR. I bought a bunch of new books, and so for the month of September, I told myself I'm gonna read all of these 12 new books that I just bought. I only finished 2. Yeah, so I finished this, so The Brothers Hawthorne and My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. Guys, like, the ADHD is so real. Like, I used to be able to read a book a day as a kid. Now it takes me 3 weeks to read one book. And it's not because, like, any of these books are hard to get into. I just get so distracted by literally anything and everything around me. So, anyway, I've done, so The Brothers Hawthorne is a spin-off from the Inheritance Games Trilogy, and I have done a review on each of those books, and I've included the link to those 3 videos in the description. So if you don't know, the Inheritance Games Trilogy, it's basically like this YA mystery, and there's like no murder. There's no murder. And there's just a lot of puzzles, riddles, and clues, and honestly, if you haven't read them yet, I totally recommend reading them. And it's funny because I know I'm very against first person point of view when it comes to like anything that I read, but I loved Avery Kylie Graham's. I love her perspective, and so despite it being in a first person point of view, like, I did enjoy reading the books and I would read them again, which was why I immediately pre-ordered The Brothers Hawthorne the moment that I was able to. So before I get into like the actual like thoughts on the book itself, I want to talk about fan casts because, okay, maybe some of you guys do this too, but what I like to do is I like to imagine a certain actor as the character, just because like it's easier for me to like visualize when I'm reading the book. So, and I don't think I've ever actually talked about any of my fan casts for like the characters in this like little like series, so I figured I might as well tell you guys who I fan casted. So first up, we've got the man who I think would play the best Grayson Davenport Hawthorne, Nicholas Galitzine. So it used to be Freddie Carter, but then I watched Red, White, and Royal Blue, and if you haven't done so yet, I totally recommend watching it. And Nicholas Galitzine's like aesthetic and vibes as Prince Henry in Red, White, Royal Blue like really gives off like similar Grayson Hawthorne vibes. So that's why I was like, yep, he definitely gives Grayson vibes, especially like if you have seen it, those scenes where he's looking very James Bond-esque in his suit. Yeah, definitely Grayson. Second, we've got Felix Millard as Jameson. I think it's just like the jawline and the bone structure, plus his eyes. Like, he's got like that smolder that I feel like Jameson totally has. And yeah, so that's who I think would make a great Jameson Hawthorne. Then we've got my beloved Xander Hawthorne, my favorite Hawthorne. Listen, I love Grayson, he's my book boyfriend, but Xander. I think Jordan Fisher would make a great Xander Hawthorne. He would bring like that really great like chaotic energy that we all love from Xander. Then for Nash, it was a little bit more difficult, but I thought that Tom Sturridge would make a great Nash Hawthorne, just because like in terms of how similar he could kind of look to like Nicholas and Felix, and even like some like facial structure with Jordan Fisher, I feel like he'd make a great Nash. And last but not least, I've got Olivia Scott Welch as Avery, just because, not gonna lie to you, I'm just obsessed with Olivia Welch ever since Fear Street, and I think she'd make a really great Avery. So personally, I think I should be like a casting director, because like, wow, they're all pretty, they all look like they could be related, you know, minus Avery because she's not a Hawthorne technically in blood. So, if you guys have any other, like, fan casts for these guys, like, feel free to comment them below. Like, I always love to see how other people would have, like, casted these characters. So now let's move on to, like, the whole point of this video, which was, what did I think of The Brothers Hawthorne? So, I loved it. Not a surprise that I loved it. I loved it. Because, like, the thing that I thought was missing from the original trilogy was the variety in perspective. Like, again, I cannot stress enough how much I love Avery, but I was also curious to see how the Hawthorne brothers Grayson especially, like how they thought, how they felt, like their monologue, that sort of thing. So to have this book, The Brothers Hawthorne, which is written in a dual third person point of view, like it was everything that I needed. So again, it definitely focused more on like Jameson and Grayson, specifically like navigating their relationships with their father's side of the family. And there's also a lot of flashbacks too that show their relationship with their grandfather, Tobias. And on that note, guys, I cannot stress enough like how badly he should have left the money for therapy. Like every single time I read like the flashback scenes, I'm just like, yeah, therapy. You guys need to unpack all of this in therapy. So, like, again, to be fair to Tobias, on one hand, I get wanting your grandsons to be cunning and ambitious and extraordinary, but on the other hand, maybe just give them money and be supportive. It is not that hard, Tobias. But yeah, like, no wonder these boys, like, again, need therapy, and Grayson has this complex about, like, not being good enough, which I think is just really sad, because I think he's a really great guy, like, he's a great character, and then you understand his trauma because of his grandfather. So yeah, fun times. So in the book, I also loved that there was more of like this big brother side to Grayson with his younger half sisters. So I think it was really cute, and I loved how their relationship developed, especially him with Gigi, because Gigi, he made this comparison too, but like how she's so much like Xander. Just seeing that relationship was just really beautiful. Although I really did wish that there was more of Grayson's relationship with Savannah, because they really are so much alike. So I feel like that would have been nicer to see. But I also get it. And Acacia Grayson, so Sheffield Grayson's wife, technically Grayson's stepmom, technically, she was like so nice to him, and I really love that. And so there was this quote, actually, I think it was a little bit later on in the book, when he's watching Acacia and Savannah hugging, and you know, like obviously thinking like how like nice it is in like his own repressed emotional Grayson way, and he says, like, this is a direct quote from the book, Hawthorns weren't supposed to long for things they could not have. And I'm just like, while he's watching this mother and daughter like comforting each other, and I'm just like, I needed a minute after that. I had to close the book and be like, okay, I was very much in my feels, as you could tell. And then on the other side, we've got Jameson and his dad. And, so I think gambling is like a very hereditary gene, because his dad is a gambling man. So like Jameson, I don't think he's as bad, but like you kind of see where the genes come from, like in terms of him taking risks and gambling. But like his dad and Grayson's dad, they both just suck ass, guys, okay? So like, just Ian was just so like, but at least I will say this, Jameson at least does have his paternal uncle like on his side, so thank God that one of the adults who he is related to actually is like willing to look out for him and his well-being. So thank you, Branford, for not being a jerk like your brother. Bare minimum, but thank you for being a decent adult. And another thing I loved, guys, the Hawthorne brothers like bonding at the end, like, I am feral for good sibling relationships in media. So like I feel like that needs to happen more. Like I need to see more. I know it's like slice of life, but I need more, okay? And what really got to me, I think, was when they were bonding, and then I think they were playing Truth or Dare, and I think it's either Xander or Jameson, I can't remember now, but they were like to Grayson, I dare you to admit that you're not okay. And he admits that he's not okay. And like, this was like again near the end of the book, but like Grayson is taking his steps to slowly healing, and I really do wish the best for him. So a big thing that happened at the beginning of the book actually was that Nash gave him Nan's ring. And obviously at first he's just like, why me? And at the end he goes, why not me? So, okay. But that being said, because we have that full circle moment coming in, like, will he propose to someone with this ring eventually? If so, I know he's fictional, but I would really love for him to like propose to me. I'll treat you right, Grayson. Please. Anyway, so this entire book is just an exploration, I think, of what both Jameson and Grayson have been missing in their lives. So Jameson's like the desire to constantly win and to be extraordinary. Like seeing how his grandfather spoke to him, I'm just like, okay, like I understand why you are the way that you are. And then with Grayson, it was like him missing out on a mother's love with Sky, and then seeing what he could have had, like whenever he sees Acacia with like Gigi and Savannah, like he's thinking of what he could have had if maybe, you know, Acacia had known about him a lot earlier than she did. And again, like I mentioned before, she was really nice to him too, even though she had no reason to be. Like, oh, my heart. I'm trying not to cry. Again, I'm wearing makeup, I'm wearing contacts. We don't want to pop a contact, guys. But, again, every time, like, I swear, every time I read, like, anything from the Inheritance Games Trilogy, I'm just like, these boys need to go to therapy. Like, genuinely, I feel like so many things could be fixed with them if they just go to therapy. Not fixed, healed. Because it's a healing process. They have a lot of trauma to unpack. So, there are some loose ends with this book with Eve, Alice Hawthorne, and The Grandest Game. So, Eve. Eve. Girl, like, please just stop. Okay, like, she's so entitled. Like, is it not enough that you got the Blake fortune, but you actually think it's your birthright to be a Hawthorne too? So, again, I don't know, like, if you're probably watching this just because, like, maybe you're one of my friends and you guys want to show your support, but if you haven't read the Final Gambit yet, the story with Eve is that she is Toby Hawthorne. So Toby Hawthorne is the adopted son of Tobias and Alice Hawthorne. Okay, so Toby has a biological daughter named Eve, and yeah, he does not like Eve. He definitely is more fatherly towards Avery, who is the daughter of Hannah, who is his greatest love. So anyway, so on one hand, I kind of want to be sympathetic towards Eve, but also like because like I get it logically speaking that, you know, everything she wanted, Avery got, but at least Avery was humble about it, and also Avery doesn't feel entitled to the Hawthorne fortune the way Eve does. So yeah, I'm not very sympathetic, and because she's so entitled, I don't like her, clearly. Also, the fact that she kept bugging Grayson and even, like, having her people, like, surveil, like, Grayson's half-sisters, like, girl, no, leave him and his family alone. You've done enough damage. And also, if she does tell, like, Savannah that Sheffield Grayson is dead and that Gray and Gigi knew about it, I will be throwing hands, guys. I don't care if she's fictional. I will throw hands with this girl. Oof. So the other loose end I mentioned actually was Alice Hawthorne. So it turns out that Alice Hawthorne, Tobias Hawthorne's wife, who everyone thought was dead, is apparently alive. And I'm just like, wait, what do you mean she's alive? Huh? And like that was his like secret essentially, like when he was trying to get into like the Devil's Mercy, like that's the secret that he sold. And so now I'm curious, because like why would she fake her death, or why would everyone say she's dead if she's still alive? Like, I need to know more. I have so many questions. And so that brings me to The Grandest Game, which is coming out in July 2024. Like, I opened this book, it says there, The Grandest Game, I'm just like, what's that? And then Jennifer Lynn Barnes announced it that there's gonna be one more book, and I'm like, okay, I will pre-order it immediately as soon as I can. So we've now reached the end of my video, so let me just like sum this all up for you guys really quickly. I definitely like recommend reading the Brothers Hawthorne, like if you love the Inheritance Games Trilogy. Like, I absolutely love this book and I would reread it again. And I can't wait to see how they would actually wrap up everything like in The Grandest Game, because I genuinely thought she was done after, you know, Final Gambit, but there were still some loose ends. So then we got the Brothers Hawthorne. Then there's still some loose ends. So then we've got The Grandest Game. So I really hope, I'm not saying I hope it's the final one, but I want to see how she's gonna wrap everything up like together. Alright, and that's a wrap on the Brothers Hawthorne. If you got suggestions for films, books, and TV shows, like feel free to comment down below. So my next video will be a book talk on Grady Hendrix's Final Girl Support Group in honor of spooky season. So I know normally book talk is like a month end thing, but Five Nights at Freddy's is coming out at the end of October, and I'll be doing my film chat on that film. So my next video, my book talk, will be up in the middle of October since I'll be going on a week-long vacation like at the beginning of the month. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day, and please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye.